I want to apologize to John for rigging this contest. I did not look at the length of the album and couldn't have possibly expected that it was as bad as it is.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, we'll get into that. For those of you who are maybe new to the show, what we do every month is we review a classic nu metal album. And this month we are reviewing Puddle of Mud's debut album, Come Clean. And so as Bryan was alluding to, every month we do a poll. We each nominate 2 albums to go up on the poll to be voted on by the listeners as to what they want us to review. So last month we had Kitty, we had Disturbed, we had Puddle of Mud, and we had, what was your other one? Soulfly. That's Soulfly. Right. And so we usually leave the polls up for 48 hours. So after about 40 hours, Kitty had stormed into the lead. They were in a comfortable lead by about 10% over Disturbed and Puddle of Mud, which were kind of neck and neck behind Kitty. And Bryan, having suggested Puddle of Mud, was upset at this. And so he decided to rig the poll. He decided to quote tweet the poll and tell everybody to vote for Puddle of Mud. And he has a lot more followers than I do. So they did, and Puddle of Mud ended up winning very convincingly in the last 8 hours. They ended up getting about 50% of the total vote after being behind. And then Bryan and I had to listen to Puddle of Mud. And here's what I wanted to ask you, Bryan. Like, what was it that made you want to listen to it so bad? Because I feel like when you and I were texting about it, before you had listened to it, like re-listened to it, it seemed like you had pretty positive memories of it, or you didn't think it was like a bad album. So what made you want to put it up in the first place?
Well, what made me want to put it up was it was kind of like a toss up between them and Crazy Town. But I figured Puddle of Mud felt like a band that had a song I like, 2 that I thought were okay, Blurry and She Hates Me. Yeah. I love She Hates Me. I'm an unabashed fan of that fucking song. And so I was like, how bad can it really be? That right. was like what I was thinking. And then I was like, I'm kind of excited to listen to this because I yes, it's definitely going to suck, but it'll probably be funny suck. And to tell you the truth, it is funny. Like, it does suck in a funny way. Yeah.
You're right.
So it was a positive experience in the end. And, it wasn't all me when it came to this thing winning. You have to also think about these guys went viral between me nominating them and then the poll happening,
Yeah, which was really bad for me. Because I knew that I didn't want to listen to it. And then when the clip went viral, I was like, fuck, we're going to have to listen to Puddle of Mud. And that's going to
right. It. And then for me, it was just kind of like, well, I mean, I want Puddle of Mud to win because it'll make John miserable.
Yeah. Well, you also view the poll like a contest. I don't view, to me, I don't really care. I just put up 2 albums, you put up 2 albums, and I just think whatever the listeners of the show vote for, I'm fine with. It doesn't matter if they pick yours or pick mine. I like to win the challenge because to me that is an actual contest. It's literally in the name. It's the challenge. But in the poll to me is not a contest, but you view it as a contest. You don't like when your album does not get chosen.
I won last month. I won the contest again. I stay winning, but yeah, I don't view it as a contest because nobody knows really truthfully, the people that listen know. But I think if I retweet the poll, there's a lot of people that are just like, oh, that's a funny album, and then are hitting it. And I want to say this, I felt so bad after this happened now that there's no poll this month.
Yeah.
Because I told John, yes, we can do Kitty. Now, people are going to be like, this is wrong. How can you do this? How can you take such a totalitarian move? You two is what they would think. And because we can. And secondly, if it was any other band in the entire world, I wouldn't have cared, but it was women. and I felt bad about it.
Well, I think that we can say though that it's not totalitarian because Kitty was winning the poll. Like people who listen to the show, because presumably when we just put the poll up and neither you nor I retweet it, the only people who see it are people who follow the P.O.D. Kast Twitter, which if you follow the Twitter of a podcast that's about new metal in 2020, chances are pretty good that you're a pretty big fan of the show and of the genre. So you are voting for what you think is the best or most interesting album. So our listeners did want us to review Kitty. Kitty was winning. And then the totalitarian move was you retweeting the poll and saying, vote for Puddle of Mud.
Yeah, put my thumb on the scale.
Exactly. That was exactly right. Yeah, you walked into the Roman court of emperors with the scale in the front and you put your thumb on that bad boy, which is fine. But I don't think people will actually be mad because I do think people want us to do Kitty. And like you said, I think
we should do Kitty. When you suggested let's just do Kitty next month, I was like, while I don't like it because I can't win the poll, I think it's okay that we do Kitty next month. I think after this album, I think we deserve something good, and I think agree. Kitty's a good album. And but I'm so excited talking about this goddamn thing because it really is it's so it's bad. It's a really, really bad album. And Puddle of Mud, that's a band that I think we need to address first.
Yeah.
I think one of the first things I want to address about this too is that this is a new metal band. I don't want to hear any shit from people saying it's not a new metal band. This is firmly there. If Incubus is a new metal band, then Puddle of Mud, they toured with every single one of the acts that we cover, Yeah.
Yeah. And they were discovered by Fred Durst. Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, I think, normally you and I have some kind of banter off the top, but I think there's a lot we want to say about this album, so we can just get right into it.
Well, I want a banter too. What are you fucking cutting out the banter for?
Well, I'm not. I just thought we were.
I'm kidding. I just thought it was fun. It's fun to be all fucking confrontational.
Yeah, you're very confrontational.
How are you doing? John? How's your week been?
I'm doing well, man. I can't complain. Just living life. Nothing's really interesting for me, honestly, but it's fine. I'm watching that really, really bad Netflix show, Too Hot to Handle.
My daughter loves that show.
Yeah. It seems like a show that your daughter's 15, right? It seems like a show a 15-year-old girl would love.
Loves it. Thinks it's the best show in the world. Told us all about it. She watched it in one day.
Yeah, I tweeted a couple months ago that I finished Suits. I watched every episode of the show Suits.
That's an insane behavior, by the way, John.
No, I agree. And I say it's I think it's the worst show ever made, but this might be the worst show ever made.
Yeah, people fucking talk about me being crazy because I watched all of Sons of Anarchy, but watching all of Suits is such on a higher level weird.
Oh, yeah, it's
than bad. Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, way worse. Yeah, I mean, at least Sons of Anarchy was good for a bit. Well, I shouldn't. Good for 2 seasons, probably.
Suits.
Yeah, no. I'm really white, Brian. What do you want? Okay.
It's a crazy show. It's like when I go to my dad's house and he's like, you know what you're probably sleeping on a little bit. He doesn't talk like that, but I'm just doing regular way of talking.
The guy who said sleeping on. That's what we're imagining for this story.
My dad, the 2 things recently he's told me I'm sleeping on are Man in the High Castle and Burn Notice. And I was like, I'm never watching neither one of those shows.
I don't know anything about them, honestly. I mean, I've heard both of those names, but I don't know what those mean.
Yeah. Nah, I don't want to watch them. My week is going cool. I'm buying records. So
I saw we were talking about this before we went live to tape here, but you're a metal guy right now, or I guess you're always been a metal guy, but right now you're listening to like exclusively metal.
Yeah, I can't stop. I wake up every morning and I listen to Master of Puppets, that whole album, just to get moving in the morning. And I fucking headbang while I'm putting my clothes on and shit like that and get ready to roll. But I did. Fuck.
That gets you going. Makes you feel like you're the master of your own domain, you know?
It also has Sanitarium on it, which Limp Bizkit did like the most incredible cover of. Have you ever heard Limp Bizkit do Sanitarium?
I think I have, yeah.
MTV Icons Metallica is amazing because it has Limp Bizkit and Korn on it. Korn's doing one, yeah,
which they did when you saw them.
Yeah, so fucking awesome. I was going fucking nuts for that. But like, I've bought, but I have actually bought some variety since I started buying the records, because I can't like just have Danzig and Metallica. My wife would leave me,
right? Yeah,
if every record I bought was Danzig and Metallica.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, we got the Strokes. Is this it? Oh, okay. My daughter wanted that one. She likes those guys. But like we got Tom Petty's Greatest Hits.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I'll get a little nutty too. You know,
yeah. You can't not, right? I mean, it's just, it is what it is. It's a great record.
And Nirvana Unplugged in New York.
Oh, great record.
Yeah, that one's great. We listened to that today because, like, I don't know. I bought the metal records because I want to listen to them loud as fuck. And my wife does not want to listen to them loud as fuck. So right. I have to like be cool with them, you know.
You gotta keep it chill.
So I did unplug
to a lot as a friend of yours, I believe. Because I believe she's heavily involved with Means TV. Bryn's band Stay Inside.
Whose band? Oh, Bryn's band Stay Inside. I have to check it out. I don't know Bryn as well because Brett knows her really well.
Gotcha.
I know she's on. I know her show and stuff like that. I haven't got to meet her yet. We were supposed to go on their show in a week when we were supposed to be in New York.
Right. And now you're not, but that's okay. You're here with me. But yeah, that record is amazing. I've been listening to it a ton. The Stay Inside record. If you haven't heard it yet, it's. I'll
check it out. I definitely would love to check it out. I also got Danzig.
I think you would like it. It's like heavy. It's like heavy in a way that I think you would like, Bryan.
That's cool. That's because I'm really into heavy shit. I think it's heavy shit 2020. I think we live in a world right now that heavy metal is going to save it. You know, like
it's going to save it.
It's going to save the world. We're all going to fucking get through this and we're going to go nuts to heavy metal. What's a better kind of music after not being allowed to be around people and listen to, like, to go see a fucking metal concert, get down in a pit and go nuts, you know, like that. And I also just feel this thing in my mind, like metal's on its way back. Metal's having a moment, as they say, and it's going to happen.
I sent you that record. That one song from that. Let me just make sure I don't get her name wrong. I think it's Rina Sawayama. Yeah. Rina Sawayama, who's like combining like 90s pop with like new metal. And it's incredible.
Well, I got to tell you, man, I didn't really listen to a lot of like metal. This is all new music to me.
Right.
I only listen to new metal. I think, you know, I listen to Pantera. And because there was that period where Korn was the only new metal band, it's like, God, I need something. Right. So I listen to Pantera too. And so now going back and listen, I just watched a documentary called Murder in the Front Row. It's about the thrash metal scene in San Francisco.
Oh, sweet.
And it was really good. And I am like really having my first real experiences with Metallica and with like some of these heavier bands. And like I would have not liked it when I was doing the new metal thing, but I love it now. Like and Danzig is a guy. Like I always liked Mother, but I never listened to his solo stuff. But I had heard that the first 4 are really good, and that's totally right. The first 4, Danzig 1 through 4, are so fucking good. 2 specifically, I listen to once a day now. I love evil stuff. I'm really into demons and evil shit.
That's the vibe you're feeling.
Yeah.
I've never been a metal guy, honestly. Metallica, like I like certain songs, but I would never sit and listen to like a full Metallica album. I've seen them live a couple times. They're great live, but
lucky.
Yeah. Saw them at Summer Sanitarium. And then I saw them another time after that with Godsmack. So
I just think like
Bill, that was
I go through a lot of like really weird. I go through a lot of phases that's how I listen to music is like I go through phases. So there will be these long phases where I'm like, I'm only listening to new music. That's all I want to hear is new music. That's it. And then I'll go through another type of thing where I'm like, I want to find old shit and listen to old shit. The last time I went through the old shit phase, I discovered the Cars and Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground and David Bowie. Like I had never listened to them, and I fucking loved them. And now I'm going back to like the metal, and I'm like, this shit fucking rules, man. I really like it. I think it's a different kind of metal than what we cover on this show. You know, it's like they're singing about important shit. Like, you know, all of Metallica's early stuff is anti-war.
Right.
I mean, I don't think they're anti-war anymore, but at the time
they love war now. They're huge fans.
Yeah. James Hetfield seems like
too much Nazi memorabilia and then just became a war guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
what happened.
There's that. I mean, I don't know. I'm going through one of my classic, like Bryan's listening to stuff that he should have listened to 25 years ago, but didn't because he was stubborn phase.
No, it's good. Like it's definitely good. I go through those phases too, I would say for sure. But mine tend to be like less heavy because I think I listen to so much like heavy and loud music for most of my, you know, like I've talked on the show before, obviously started with new metal, then got like really into screamo. And so that was like a solid like 8 to 10 years of my life where I pretty much exclusively listened to heavy music. So for me, now that I listen to more indie and like pop and softer stuff, when I go back and listen to older shit, it's a lot of like 80s new wave and pop and stuff like that. That's more like my speed now that I'm, you know, a 34-year-old man with a lot of dad energy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the metal thing for me, though, is that like for the past probably, I don't know, 10 years, I've been listening to like mostly rap and then garage rock, like the real poppy, like the Black Lips and King Khan and stuff like that. And I've also been listening to like country music. So until this podcast, metal was pretty much out of my life. I just was like, I don't need this shit. It's too angry. I'm an old man, you know? Right. And then Brett got really into Metallica because I was singing Whiskey in the Jar before we recorded one night. Just to be a goof.
That's a way to get back into it.
Well, and then he was like, I'm going to listen. And then the next day he's like, I'm listening to Whiskey in the Jar like over and over again. And he's like, have you heard the Turn the Page cover? Then he got really into Load.
It's so good.
The Turn the Page cover is good. The video is great.
The video is incredible. I was going to say unbelievable and then switch to incredible in the middle.
I dare to say unreal, which isn't really a John thing to say, but it works.
I say unreal sometimes. I was probably a big Unreal guy at one time.
You know? Whoa. Unreal.
It's fucking unreal, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I got into like, I think I got back into heavy music. It's like a weird, I think the world sucks too. You know, it's just like
you have a reason to be angry. Like, you have something you need catharsis for.
Let's all hate stuff again. And also, me and Brett did make a pledge in January: no more Poptimism. So there's that going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we made the no more Poptimism pledge.
Way of avoiding that.
What do you mean?
Well, I just feel like he's not a poptimist kind of guy.
Right. No. Well, I mean, when I say poptimism, I just mean like if something sucks, I'm not going to like be like, oh, just enjoy what you like.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, fuck you. This sucks.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. It's like, I feel like Danzig is like that as well. Danzig is very much, he's about what he's about and he doesn't give a fuck about anything else. Like,
he's an erotic guy.
Yeah.
Not neurotic, erotic is what I'm saying.
Probably both. Probably like the
both
brackets.
Yeah.
It can be either or, erotic or neurotic.
He like sings the sexiest music that my wife would never be into having sex. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like I'm fucking sitting here like, oh my God, this is the hottest song in the world. And it just sounds like something they would have played in a strip club in 1992.
Yeah, it's like I had a really brief, like very brief phase where I got into Witch House for like just a little bit. And it was mostly because of this band Salem. They put out a record, King Knight, and I thought it was so good. And I was like, man, this would be really cool to have sex to if like the girl you dated was really scary. And then but then the more I listened to it, I'm like, no woman on earth would have sex to this. And if they would, that's bad. You don't want, that's not what you want, man. You got to stay away from this shit. So
there's a song called Devil's Plaything on Danzig 2 that I'm just like, fuck yeah, man, this is sex.
But like, you have to admit at the same time, if Katie was ever like, oh, you know what? Like, we should have sex, that you'd be like, no, actually, I've changed my mind. It's like, for some reason, it's just the idea of it in your head is much better than you actually putting on Devil's Plaything.
Yeah, you don't like, that's the thing is like, I don't want my wife to become a big Danzig fan.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know, part of this also is like just to annoy her, you know, in a weird way. We're all in quarantine together. It's just like, well, I'm just going to listen to music you hate now.
Yeah, exactly.
Devil plaything in my hand. I love it. If you don't want pain, you don't understand. This is fucking great, dude.
I feel like if you've never heard the song, which I haven't, you could easily guess that one of the lyrics is about it being in his hand.
You gotta fucking, dude, listen to Danzig too. It's not like heavy metal. It's like fucking Elvis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good vibes.
You said he has an Elvis covers record, right?
Fuck yeah, I just ordered it on vinyl. Everybody hates it, but I love it. So there's that. Which is how most of my life works. You know, John and Daniel pointed out that my wall, I have a wall behind me now.
Yeah, you record in your living room on your couch.
Yeah, I got sick of, well, for this show, it doesn't have to happen, but for any other show I do, I have to kick them out, you know, like go to your room to everybody. And it's like, that's not any way to live your life. So I redid one of my rooms, and on my wall is mostly street fight posters.
Yeah.
But there's a Jonathan Davis poster from a solo act that I love.
Yeah.
It's really dark, and that's another erotic thing. It's sensual. It's a sensual photo.
He's a sensual guy. And the thing I love about the Jonathan Davis solo album is that my friend went to see him when he was here in Vancouver, and he played no Korn songs.
That's the way to do it, though. You really got to piss people off. Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Give him one, give him one. He's like, nope, just played the solo album cover to cover, no Korn songs.
Well, and I also have the a Monster energy drink promotional shot that Jonathan Davis did, where he seductively stood against one of those big cases they keep backstage. Like, he's got his arm. He looks like he's like cool dude, and has the Monster Energy logo. I framed that one. That's the only one I framed. And then I have The VHS cover for Family Values 98 up there. I'm going to fill this room with that
somewhere in my crawl space.
Yeah, somebody gave it.
The whole thing is great.
A fan gave it to me at our last live show that we did before lockdown.
Gave you the VHS or just the sleeve?
No, they handed me the VHS. That's and cool. I was like, oh man, this is really sweet, but like I can't listen. I can't watch it because I don't have a VCR. But now here's another thing about me. I'm looking at becoming a cassette tape guy so I could see turning into a VCR guy too.
Kind of look like a VCR guy. I could see you being a VCR guy.
Yeah, I'm just like a guy that's like into VCRs now. I just go get all the VCR movies at the thrift store.
It's like in the same way that doing this new metal podcast convinced you to listen to more metal. It's like getting the Family Values VHS is what tipped you into becoming a VCR guy.
Do you know what made me want to be a cassette guy?
What?
I found one of Korn's original demos on cassette.
Ooh,
Niedermeyer's Mind? Huh?
Was it Niedermeyer's Mind?
Let me look. It was on Discogs. Dude, it was like $350. But I was like, I can come up with $350 somehow, at some point. And now I want to own it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to own Korn tapes. I'm getting Significant Other on vinyl soon. And I'm getting the first 4 Korn albums into nothing. So I'll have some new metal in the vinyl collection too. I want White Pony really bad, but I've heard it's hard to get.
That'd be nice on vinyl. It'd sound good.
Yeah. I don't like flipping a record. Pain in the ass.
Yeah, you are a VCR guy. Yeah, just wait until you hear about rewinding, Brian. You're gonna hate it, man.
I'm gonna be a VCR guy and a cassette tape guy. People are gonna be like, Brian, you fucking changed, dude. You like all the old technology. That's very hip of you.
Yeah. Who knew that would be what would be hip?
I'm just a hip guy, man. You know, that's just who I am. I'm really into Korn. I'm actually so much more into Korn since we started this podcast than I had been in a decade. You know, we started this podcast,
which came out like right around when we started this show.
Yeah, and it being good really helped.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I think that I've always enjoyed listening to new metal, like going back and listening to it. But I think that doing this show definitely has made me approach it in a different light, but like in a good way. I think it's fun to think about. And I think also too, when I listen to the new metal I like now, it's almost like I have more appreciation for it. Like I think I've always liked Korn and Limp Bizkit and Deftones. Well, Deftones always, but I've always liked Korn and Limp Bizkit. Like unironically, people would be like, you don't still like that. And I'd be like, yeah, no, I do. But then really like, I think doing this pod almost makes me like it even more unironically, because I'm like, now that we're listening to shit like Puddle of Mud and this other stuff, you're like, I mean, it still is legitimately good. You know, you can listen to the other stuff from the era and be like, oh, this is aged really poorly and it sucks. But Korn and Limp Bizkit, you're like, oh, I can see why, pardon me, these bands were the top of this genre, because they were definitely doing it the best. Because we're listening to the stuff that is not the best, and it almost gives you a new appreciation for it.
I mean, this week is fucking what? I would put this up there because, you know, you don't listen to full albums that you don't like very often.
Oh, God, no.
This is the worst album I've ever heard. Just bar none.